Hello everyone, welcome to Coder and Boots. So in this video, we are going to discuss about Git operations, basically the commit operation. Okay, so in the previous videos, we discussed about the installation of Git client, the basic clone operation, configuration of the credentials, etc. So here I am going to explain the end-to-end flow of how a developer use Git on day-to-day basis. So it's not just the commit operation. I'll be explaining clone, then I'll be explaining push operation, I'll be explaining changing branches, making changes to the code and committing it back to the Git. Okay, so I'll not explain the configuration part because that is already explained in the previous videos. If you are interested, watch the previous videos. It's already in my channel. So let's get into the Git command line. So command line is also already installed in my laptop. So I'm just opening Git bash. Okay, so here, so what I'm going to do is I have a repository with me. So I'll use that repository's code for as reference in this example. So I have basically a repository with me with the name Flyway Test. It's in Gitlab. So you can use GitHub or Gitlab or Bitbucket, whatever you want, you can use. So I'm going to basically clone. So right now it has two branches. One is main and develop. Okay. So right now I am in main. Okay. So I'm going to basically clone this code and then I'm going to make some changes and I'm going to commit it back. Okay, so right now if you see, this code was committed 11 months ago. Okay, so so let me clone it. So from the code section I have to get the clone URL. So I have already configured the credentials in this machine. So let's go to a proper directory. So you can basically do this operation from a convenient directory that you want. So I'm going to create a directory here, maybe commit ops. Then I'm going to clone the code, paste the URL, git clone and the URL. So I'm not passing the credential here because the credentials were already saved in this machine because I have used this repository, basically the same Git sometime back. So the credentials are already stored. So I have already explained how to generate credential, how to store the credential in your laptop. All those things I have explained in the previous video. So now let's see. So now if you see in the local, now ls the flyway test 01. So let's check what's the name of the repository. It's flyway test 01. Okay, so it got cloned to my laptop. Okay, so now if you see, once I get into that, you can see it is main. Right now it is in the main branch. Okay, so I did not specify any branch while cloning, so that's why I cloned everything. So by default it's in the default branch, which is the main branch. So I'll show you how to commit directly to the main branch itself without changing the branch. So I'm going to let's say the SQL scripts. Okay, so let's say ls. So you can see a code over here. So it's a SQL script. Okay, it can be Python code or Java code. It depends on what type of repository you are dealing with. So I'm going to modify this. I'm going to use nano. You can use your editor, your own choice. Like you can even open this in maybe you can clone here and open it using your IDE and then save it. So I'm just going to directly edit it using the command line editor nano. So there are other command line editors like vi, vim, etc. So I'm just using nano here. So it's a create table application DB or users. There are two columns. Okay, so one is name, email. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add one more column, phone. Okay, so phone, I'm just going to keep int 10. So this is my update. This is the update that I'm trying to do. So instead of two columns, I'm going to add a third column, phone. Okay, so now let me save this. Okay, I saved this file locally. So now let's see in the Git. Let's refresh this repository. So there is no update in this repository right now. You see in the SQL file, SQL scripts, no update. It was modified 11 months ago. Okay, so now you see here also this V001. This is what I updated locally. There is no update. It is 11 months ago. The reason is I have not committed it back. I just updated in my local. Now what I need is I need to basically add this change, right? So right now this change is only on the file. I need to add this to my local repository first. So git add, okay, I have to create basically. So in this directory, so the number of changes that I did is only just one, right? So I need to do git add dot, okay. So means it will basically add all the changes in happened in this particular repo. Git add dot I did. Now I need to basically do git commit. So git commit -m is for message. So this message is an optional thing, but it is very useful because whatever change you're doing, you always update the message what change you have done with in that activity. So it will be very helpful when you review the changes. Let's say you modified a column, right? So you just mention it as a message so that it will be very easy for you or someone else to see what change you did on that specific file instead of going inside and comparing the file with the previous version. So always it's a good practice to write relevant message instead of just keeping updated and all. So some people, what they do is they do all the coding and finally in the message they just keep updated the code. That's not going to help, because if for somebody to understand what change he made, then that person need to basically go inside the code and compare it with the previous version. That's going to be like a difficult activity. So I'm going to put a message like added an additional column phone. Okay, now I committed. Okay, now you see one file changed, one insertion, one deletion. Okay, so basically like one file changed, there is one new addition happened. Okay, but now also let's come back to the repository. Okay, so if you see here again, there is no modification to this file. Okay, I did a commit, but it is not updated here because the commit happened to the locally cloned repository. It is not happened to the remote repository. For that, what I need is I need to push the changes. So git push. Okay, I need to basically execute git push. So once I execute this, what will happen? It will push the changes to the repository. So locally, if you see right now I'm in the main branch, so it will basically directly make the changes to the main branch. And now you see, so there are like the changes, and it basically compressed and send it to the main branch. Now let's refresh here. Okay, you see this file 1 minute ago, the change happened 1 minute ago. Okay, added, and you can see the last commit. Now you are getting the benefit, right? So I added like a message, added an additional column phone. So now corresponding to the file itself, you can see the message over there. Okay, so that it will be very helpful for the people to understand what change I made. And also if you see, if we come to the home directory of this repository, coder in boots, basically I am the user, authored this file 1 minute ago, this repository, there is a change. You see the change happened, remaining files 1 year ago, 11 months ago, but the SQL scripts, there is an update, and the message also you can see last commit, there is a message. Okay, add an additional column SQL scripts, so we can go inside this again. Here it will show you what is the update. Also you can track the commits from the commit section. If you go to the commit section, you can see there is an author, basically there is a change in the main branch, so you can select which branch you want to check the commits, and there you can see all the commits that happened to this particular one. And there also you can see the relevant message, whatever message you are adding, those messages you can see it here. Okay, so this is the first example. So now what I'm going to do is, so I'm going to do the same activity, but I'm going to basically, instead of just main, I'm going to make change to the develop branch. Okay, right now I have the latest code in my local because I am the only one who committed the code. Now let's switch to develop branch. Okay, so here we already have a different branch, develop. Okay, so what I'm going to do is git checkout develop. Okay, so switch to a branch. So right now you see it switched to develop. Okay, now what I'm going to do is SQL script okay. Now I am going to make an additional change here. Okay, so here instead of phone, along with phone, I am going to add location. Okay, location, I am going to put varchar 20. Okay, I am adding one more column, location, in the develop branch, so I'm not in the main branch. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, so let's save this change. Okay, so let's verify it. Okay, it has a location column. Now I am in develop branch, right now you can see it from here. So I used the command checkout, so I switched to the branch. Okay, so develop is an existing branch right now, that's why I switched to that branch. I made this change. Now what I'm going to do is, I'm going to do the same activity, git add dot, okay, git commit -m added column location. Okay, now git push. You see it will push the changes to, now you see it's pushed from develop to develop. Okay, so it is basically, it is committing from develop to develop because I am in develop branch. I am pushing it to develop. Now so now you see here, if you refresh, you will not see any change here in the SQL, the main branch. Okay, you see the change was happened 4 minutes ago, but let's see if I switch to develop. Okay, you will see the change right now, last commit just now. Okay, added a new column location, and you can see the change here. So it has location, but if you switch to main, you won't see the location column because the commit happened to only develop. Okay, so in typical way, what usually have is, some developers will have access to only develop branch, main will be restricted, so people make commits to develop. So if you want to basically commit to a specific branch, you can follow this approach. Now I am going to show a third example where I am going to create a new branch. I don't have, let's say I want a test branch. Okay, I don't have the test branch with me, so I'm going to create it directly from here. So what I'm going to do is git checkout -b test. So what will happen, it switched to a new branch locally. Okay, so but if you see here, there is no test branch in the remote repository. That means in the repository which is present in the GitLab, there is no test repository, a test branch, but here in the local. So that is the advantage of Git. Okay, so it keeps a copy locally, you make all the changes locally, finally you push the changes to the remote repository. Okay, instead of like doing a live edit on the repository, even if you don't have internet, what you can do the coding, and whenever you connect it back, you can sync it back to, or push it back to the main repository. So here what I'm going to do, I still have the same code. So now let's basically modify. So I have this location right now, right? So basically the test branch right now, it's created with the previous origin. Okay, the previous main branch, the branch which I had, which was develop. Okay, so the test will have the latest code that I have for develop. So test is created from develop branch. That's why you can see the location column over here. I'm going to add a new column, age. Okay, int 5. Okay, new column added, age. Now I'm going to try the same thing. There is a small difference in this activity, so you will see it through an error. So I'm not going to tell you that error. Let's see the error right now. So I'm going to do git add dot. Okay, it accepted the change. Git commit -m added new column age. Okay, so I added the column. Okay, again the commit happened. Now git push. Okay, let's see what happens, because right now if you see, we have a test branch in the local, but the test branch is not yet there in the remote repository. Basically on the GitLab we don't have the test branch. Let's see what happens when we push. Okay, now you see there is an error. Okay, the current branch test has no upstream branch. That means the test branch that I have in the local, it doesn't have a upstream branch. Basically we don't have a branch corresponding to that in the Git repository. So for that, what we need to basically set upstream branch. We need to basically set an argument to this particular command, set upstream origin test. Origin means basically from from here, so upstream also we need to basically commit it to something called test. Okay, so let's execute this command. So what will happen is it will commit the code, it will create a branch in the repository and it will commit the code to that branch. Okay, so if we do this, what will happen is it will basically take the code from our local test branch, okay, and it will commit it to the branch over there, that is basically test. It is not there right now, it will create it. Let's see what happens. So now it executed. Now you see new branch, it's a new branch. Okay, in the previous commit, if you see, it is not showing new branch. Okay, here if you see, it's not showing new branch, but here you see it's a new branch. Okay, it's a new branch. And now tracking means basically, like, it will check, it will basically track the changes with respect to the remote branch. Remote branch means a branch on the GitLab. Okay, now you see, let me refresh this. You will see a branch called test. It got created. Okay, it got created and added a new column, age. Okay, and you can see that's corresponding update over here, age equal to int. Okay, so in this example we basically discussed, in this video we discussed 3 examples. So one with the full commit, okay, and second basically switching a branch and doing a commit. Third is switching a branch which is not existing and doing a commit. Okay, I hope this video is helpful. So if you have any questions, feel free to comment below this video. I'll help you, I'll respond back to you. And I hope this example is very clear, because this is something that every developer performs on daily basis, and it will be helpful for new developers who are trying to basically use Git. So it's a short video, so let me know whether this is useful or not. Thank you very much.